What is up, guys? It's your boy, the Decade of Destiny Cacus, and today it is an absolutely massive day for Destiny 2. First of all, it is the 10-year anniversary of Destiny 1's release, and also Bungie put out like 4 or 5 articles detailing how they're going to change, improve, and add to Destiny 2 going into 2025 and beyond, revealing 2 new expansions, a new content roadmap, and more. If you guys want to know that information, like the broad strokes, big changes coming, definitely check out my video on the subject, linked right up above. But in this video, we're going to be more focused on the rewards. So 2 of those articles were detailing how activities are changing to accommodate getting rewards and the actual changes to rewards and weaponry that you get from those activities. So that's the subject of this video. But first, speaking of rewards, something absolutely massive was revealed. So you can see here from the 10th anniversary promotional image that Bungie put out, the Titan in the middle is holding a very peculiar weapon. It's actually the Icebreaker exotic sniper rifle from Destiny 1. This is one of the most iconic and powerful weapons from Destiny 1. Now you may be thinking, it's a 10th anniversary promotional image, obviously they're going to use imagery from Destiny 1, but it looks like it's a bit more than that. In one of the articles Bungie puts out, they say, as you may have already guessed, thanks to our key art, a certain exotic sniper rifle, one considered a myth by many at this point, is resurfacing in the upcoming dungeon. We'll share more info at a later date, but we hoped this helped break the ice. It could not be more obvious. The Icebreaker exotic sniper rifle is finally being added to Destiny 2 in the next dungeon. Now, the next dungeon is launching with the Revenant Episode 2. Now, that release date for Revenant is October 8th. Likely the dungeon will launch a few days after that. But if you're not familiar with the Icebreaker, its claim to fame is that it's an infinite ammo sniper rifle. That's right, it only had 1 magazine. I don't think you could reload it. You just have to slowly wait for the ammo to recharge over time. This was the absolute diamond for many a cheese spot. People would get into sus positions where they couldn't be damaged. You know the drill as Destiny players, and then they would slowly pick away at a raid boss or whatever with their infinite ammo sniper. Now, these days, primary weapons already have infinite ammo. They didn't in Destiny 1. So how will this actually fit into the Destiny 2 meta? It'll have to be seen, but absolutely, this is a huge deal for fans of Destiny 1. The Icebreaker is iconic. Super happy to hear it's coming back. Now, moving on from there, let's get into the changes for activities coming into, again, 2025 and beyond. So, first of all, Bungie says the problem with these activities is, in past Destiny releases, all attention has been on a relatively small offering of newly introduced seasonal activities, most often with a narrow range of difficulty options, if any. Rewards and objectives have focused all purposeful play into these activities to the exclusion of most others. As a result, the ritual game quickly becomes stale and is exhausted of worthwhile rewards, and any further pursuit requires a pretty deep knowledge of Destiny or online guides to find worthwhile rewards in older activities. Now, they say for the solution, first of all, they present the portal. We went over this again in my previous video, but just quickly, this is going to essentially be the new destinations map. The actual destinations map is not going away, but this is going to be a much easier way you can pick what activities you want to do. Now, after that, they talk about challenge customization. So they say the major change to core activities is that they all support deeper personal mastery and a corresponding deep reward offering. We'll start with PvE activities, then dive into the Crucible and PvP, which present unique challenges. So all of the PvE activities will now support robust challenge customization, exposed as new options alongside selecting the difficulty. So you can see right here, they provide a screenshot. So it's the glass way, which is a strike, but you can see there's a bunch of different power levels you can now select from. It only goes up to 400. Again, this is just a mock-up, so maybe we're gonna have our power reset, later on with Frontiers, or again, maybe this is just placeholder values. The important thing is that you're now going to have much more difficulty options. You have like an overview, there's rules, gameplay, enemy power, and these seem like slots for modifiers. You can see over in the right, you have all these different rewards you can get, and you can apply modifiers potentially for even more rewards. Then they show another screenshot here. So this is going from Expert 1 in the first screenshot to Expert 3. Now there's going to be more modifiers for gameplay. There's going to be an enemy power modifier, but you can see the rewards you get expand as well. And seemingly the power level of the rewards expand too, going from 305 in the first screenshot to 380. So here's what Bungie has to say about this. They say that challenge customization gives you the ability to select and activate challenge modifiers, which affect the activity you are launching. These challenge modifiers may introduce new enemy combatant abilities to increase their threat, introduce new combatant challenges that challenge how you play, provide incentives for changing up your build crafting, raise the power target for the activity, globally increasing the difficulty. And they say as a player, you will first be able to select the base difficulty, such as Expert or Grandmaster. The difficulty will set some base difficulty tuning and a power target, but more importantly, will determine how many challenge modifiers you can add on. In some cases, which challenge modifiers are available. Higher difficulty means more modifiers to slot and a wider variety of them to choose from. So you pick your base difficulty and then you pick like how many modifiers do you want to put on to make it more difficult and get more rewards. After that, they talk about reward rating, saying rising to the right level of challenge can make an activity not only more fun to play, but more rewarding too. All core game activities will support reward rating, which is a combined team and personal score that determines the amount and the quality of rewards obtained at the end of activity. Reward rating is increased by, first of all, playing an activity at a higher base difficulty, applying challenge modifiers, which have individual bonuses to reward rating, and having personal bonuses from sources like power, artifacts, or buffs. Here's how reward rating works. As a team, you will earn a team rating over the activity determined on a per activity basis. Sometimes this will resemble existing systems like Nightfall Score, but new activity types can have their own way to determine team rating. This outcome is shared by all members of the team and will always try to mitigate competition between teammates for things like scoring kills or specific setups. At the end of the activity, your team rating is multiplied by any personal bonuses you may have. This final multiplied value is your reward rating, and this value is used to determine the quality and quantity of rewards. Reward rating is used to determine things like the quality tier of weapons and armor that drop, we'll talk about that later, or the quality of useful consumables like enhancement prisms or ascendant shards. In this way, you can select any core game activity, use your skill and build to take on more and more challenging versions of it and earn higher and higher tier rewards. And then they say, except in the Crucible. The Crucible is a unique challenge because you cannot simply add challenge modifiers or use the score of a match as a team rating. This is a tricky problem we're still working out. We're working through options like factoring in matchmaking ratings or leveraging existing progressions, but each presents unique challenges to our end goal of ensuring that Crucible offers our PvP players a fair and complete path to high tier rewards and armor, and they're going to share the solution once it's nailed down. Now, we also have an FAQ that you can read for yourself right here, but obviously these are some huge changes to like every single activity, I guess, is going to like have all these different options in terms of difficulty, applying your own modifiers. Like, what is that going to look like? Is that going to overcomplicate stuff? But also the next big question is, what am I doing this for? Like, why am I adding all these modifiers and raising the difficulty? Well, that gets into the next developer insight article, which is going to be rewards. So for this, Bungie identifies the problem as, in past Destiny seasons, only a narrow range of activities received updated rewards, leading to a narrow selection of activities worth playing. These reward pools tended to not be very deep, with most chases bottoming out with weapon perk rolls or crafting recipes, and armor not mattering much at all. These problems have resulted in shallow, unsatisfying grinds in a tiny subset of the activities actually available to play, with their best rewards being a matter of luck rather than skill or mastery. So here is Bungie's solution. So now you have weapon and armor tiers. Legendary weapons and armor will be available in a deeper range of quality tiers that layer on properties like stat bonuses, enhanced perks, and other benefits. For weapons, this will be similar to how adept weapons upgrade the baseline legendary. The baseline tier of legendary weapons and armor will be equivalent to current day legendaries, with higher tiers being generally equivalent to adept weapons in terms of upgrades. And they have a screenshot of that right here. And clearly, this is still very much in development. You have the name Swordy, it's tier 5, it's a scout rifle, but it looks like an auto rifle. In fact, it's just the Kvostov, and it's an aggressive frame 3-round burst. So is Bungie adding a 3-round burst scout rifle? That seems weird. That's just a pulse rifle. Again, this is probably just placeholder stuff. But importantly, you kind of see tier 5, likely the top reward, is going to extend the stats. Notably, it actually does show an increase to impact. So potentially doing more damage with higher tier weapons would be crazy important to get. You also have range stability, all that stuff is improved as well. And also something you can see here, you do have existing enhanced perks, of course, but now we're actually seeing like enhanced barrels, enhanced magazine traits, and even an enhanced origin trait. So like, what would enhanced, in this case it's Hammerforged Rifling. Hammerforged Rifling gives you plus 10 range. Enhanced Hammerforged, if that gives plus 12, plus 13, like, again, this is actually really interesting in making these higher tier weapons actually be something you want to go for if they can have a notable advantage over the base tier legendaries. But again, the worry is this just too much? Now you have 10 different versions of legendary weapons. I mean, the vault space is bad enough already. But Bungie says these are early mock-ups. These higher tiers of weapons and armor will be available from the full range of core game activities as rewards for higher challenge tiers and mastery of those activities. They then get into reward pools. So they say reward pools are complete sets of weapons and armor that are available as rewards from one or more activities. Some weapons are shared across multiple pools, but the majority of weapons and all armor are unique to a single pool. A typical pool is a full armor set for each class and enough weapons to provide multiple options for each weapon slot. All of these rewards are available at all tiers, so each reward pool is deep and supports a range of challenge in the activity they are associated with. The major core game reward pools will be updated in every major update. And according to the roadmap, we're getting 4 major updates every year. So they say for core PvE, rewards shared among more accessible PvE activities like strikes. Then you have core PvP, rewards shared among more accessible PvP activities like Crucible playlists. Then you have Pinnacle PvE, rewards shared among more intrinsically challenging PvE activities like dungeons, and Pinnacle PvP, rewards shared among stuff like Trials of Osiris. They say every expansion also contains 2 full reward pools. Expansion story, so rewards shared among missions, exploration, and other activities in the expansion content. And you have the expansion raid/dungeons, rewards for expansion raid or dungeon activities. In addition to the above pools, some activities like events may have additions exclusive to that activity, such as individual weapons or armor sets. So very interesting, like, are they combining dungeon and raid stuff into the same, like you can earn anything from the pool no matter which dungeon or raid you do, or are they still going to be unique to the dungeon or raid? A little bit confusing, but they continue further on. They talk about new gear. They say new gear will be a blanket category for all of the weapons and armor newly introduced in the current season, regardless of the source. New gear will receive a special visual treatment to help players identify which weapons and armor sets are new, which may therefore benefit from things like artifact bonuses. Some artifact bonuses which previously applied to specific perks, such as origin traits, will now be pointed towards a wider category of new gear instead. This should provide more and clearer build crafting options and make for some shorter tooltips in the artifact. New gear may be required in specific optional activities where players are looking for a level playing field. For example, a Crucible playlist option for players who want to play with and against the newly introduced gear, seasonal events centered on posting high scores in specific activities. So that is very interesting. Instead of saying auto rifles are boosted in Act 3 like we have right now, it would say new gear gets this bonus. Equip new gear to get whatever. You're going to have playlists where you can only use the new gear. So it would be like, hey, can you beat this activity using only Episode Echo's weapons? Again, that could be really interesting if the rewards are actually worth it. It would, make build crafting a little bit more interesting if you can't use the same stuff you've been using for years and years. So yeah, very, very interesting there. Now, FAQs, and the one I want to read right away is, does this mean that old gear is getting sunset? They say no, existing gear remains unchanged and ready to use for any activity except those set aside for experimenting with new gear. It can be infused to achieve the same power level as newly introduced gear. The only specific advantage to using new gear will be some artifact synergies compatible to origin trait upgrades found. The only specific advantage to using new gear will be some artifact synergies comparable to origin trait upgrades found in existing artifacts, which isn't the most insane. So perhaps they're actually saying, like, you still might get the auto rifles are super banger this season, but more new gear stuff will apply to more weapons, and those will be a lot more broad than saying one specific origin trait. It's just going to say new gear. So really interesting stuff. Part of me goes, this is very cool. Being able to go into a strike, ramp up the difficulty, put on all these modifiers, and try to go after that tier 5 gear that now has potentially every single perk upgraded, including barrels and magazines and all that stuff. Very, very cool. The other part of me is going, if Destiny is already inaccessible to new players, what the heck are those new players going to do when they're presented with this menu? Like, this just looks like a mess. It is in development, so it's bound to change later, but like, we used to have the ability to customize our Nightfall difficulty with like your Nightfall card. I don't know if you guys remember that. You could change different things, and no one really liked that. And now we have the standard difficulty like Grandmaster and so on, and now people are all competing for the same challenge. So I don't know if this is going to be good or bad, but what is good no matter what is that Bungie at least is innovating. So if this is great, keep it around. If it's not, hopefully they can change in the future, but glad to see that they're, actually trying to make some meaningful changes in terms of the loot grind, because it is absolutely getting stale. Guys, that is going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.